Hi everyone, welcome to episode 66 of Mompreneur Space Live Show. I'm Kenneth Chu, the host and also the author of Mother Industrialist, Perfecting the Balance Between Motherhood and Business Success. I've also been running my own digital marketing agency, KC Creative Marketing, for the past 5 years. So with this new season, I hope to give more values to my viewers. I will still be bringing on a different, inspiring, successful mompreneur and also for them to share their insights with aspiring mompreneurs or mompreneurs to be that they can learn from it. So during this live show, you can post your questions in the comment section and we will be answering them at the end of the show. So let's get the show started. So today I have this really awesome guest that I would say we have known each other for a long while, but we have not officially really sit down and chat with each other. But in the recent years, I've seen that how much she has transformed, how much she has changed, how much she has been doing very inspiring and motivating stuff around in the, I would say, the women entrepreneur and confidence and stuff like that. So she's an author, speaker, coach. She's also a community leader and a change maker. She's a mother of 2 beautiful children, aged 8 and 7, 1 boy and 1 girl. So without further ado, let us welcome Carol. Hi, Carol.
Hello, Kenneth. Good evening, everybody. How are you guys doing on a Monday evening after Mother's Day?
Yeah. So I hope you have a great Mother's Day yesterday and together with all the mothers that are tuning in. So like I mentioned, there's a tradition for Mompreneur Space Live Show that every guest get to post the question of the day out to the audience and also to the next guest. So Carol, are you ready to answer the question of the day posted by the previous guest before we can officially kickstart the show?
Okay, yes.
Okay, so the question of the day posted by the previous guest is, what is branding to you? So Carol, can you say something? Maybe say hi to the audience that are tuning in.
Hello, everybody. Hope you're doing okay.
Okay, we're seeing more people coming in. Okay. Um, okay, good. Okay, I can hear you loud and clear. So we have a few guests that's coming on board. So maybe Carol, can you share with us your answer to the question of the day? Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. So what is branding to you?
Branding to me is a form of marketing, positioning yourself and be visible to show your credibility and authority to your target audience.
Wow, that's short and sweet. And thank you very much for your answer to the question of the day. And now we can officially kickstart the show. So maybe Carol, I believe that some of the audience may not. This is the first time they are seeing you. Maybe you can do a short introduction of yourself. What were you doing before you start your business? Maybe in your corporate or what have you been studying? And where are you from? Because we will have international audiences that's tuning in. So share with us. Maybe do a short introduction of yourself.
Okay, I'm Carol. I'm a second generation Singaporean, born and bred, grew up here. My grandparents were originally from China. They were the Chinese immigrants that came in to build a new life together. And so yes, second generation Singaporean. I've been here all my life, except for the time that I spent a year in Germany with my husband. Yes, I am in a mixed marriage. My husband is German, so I am not born with the surname Gockel. Gockel is my married name. I took it on because my husband left his home country to come here to be with me. So I wanted the family to feel that they had gained a daughter from this union. And I'm a mom of 2 kids, as Kenneth mentioned earlier. I am trying to balance life basically in a mixed cultural household, trying to impart whatever I've learned, the values from the Chinese part of me, and also to try to raise the kids, who is both mixed culture, and then to understand to still be connected to their German roots. My husband. So I run a multicultural household in terms of everything from cuisine to language, and as well as different types of values that I try to actually work things out with my husband to raise two children. Yeah. And prior to starting my business, I spent about close to 17 years in the corporate world. My last job was a project manager with Standard Chartered Bank. It's a British international bank. I was doing projects in construction. I was in charge of the construction work of the bank's branches in this ASEAN region. Yeah, and if you notice, if those people who are tuning in from Singapore, if you notice, there's this huge Marina Bay Financial Center. There's this huge building with the Standard Chartered logo on it. That was one of my babies before I left the bank. Well, to say I left the bank, to be very frank, it's a bit of a stretch, because due to corporate restructuring, my department was axed. So entrepreneurship to me was born out of necessity, because I was given the pink slip to leave the corporate world.
Okay.
And that was the reason why I started my entrepreneur journey.
Oh, okay. So you were saying that you have been in that corporate. That means the first job till you left. Was it the first job that you?
No, it wasn't the first job. In fact, as I think a lot of people would relate to that. When you're fresh out of school, you try to bump around a little bit. You don't really know what you want. To be frank, I never expected to be doing what I'm doing today. Back in school, I majored in marketing. I had this big grand dream about being in the advertising world. So I went I joined a cosmetic company as an advertising and promotions personnel when I first left school. So, and then that didn't really work out, and somehow I was thrown back into unemployment. So I was temping in a bank at that time, just trying to actually get some money to pay off loans. So, and then just one thing led to another. I was with Credit Suisse First Boston, and they were doing this planning to a big move to consolidate 3 different offices in 3 locations into one single location. So I was temping in the team, and then they brought on a consultant, and the consultant said, "Look, we are trying to build a presence in Singapore." They were a Hong Kong registered company. And they say, if you are keen, we can teach you how to do, what to go about doing it. And then, if you're keen to join us as one of our first Singapore employee, you're most welcome. And then the money was good, so I jumped at the opportunity, because it was a necessary thing for me to do, because I didn't have a job, and I still have got loans to pay. So, and then that was my first job, and then first official job, to be very frank. And eventually, that kickstarted my 15 years journey.
Wow.
In construction building management.
Wow. So
and
that
I'm not even trained.
Yeah, so that is so different. Like what I want to ask you is, like, you came from somewhere that you studied like image consulting and all that stuff, and you move into construction, which is like how did it happen?
Well, the image consulting bit, in fact, it came much later. Well, the thing is, because I was the only female in a male-dominated industry. Yeah, all of the guys, my bosses, they are construction people, like put it this way. And then my daily task, I started out as an office secretary for the team. So I went to the construction site. So I had to deal with contractors, deal with engineers, architects, because my bosses at that time, they were the consultant. So they were the ones managing the project on behalf of the client, which is Credit Suisse First Boston. So that was my life, surrounding by all these men. Sometimes, because being a woman is not, and even working in a construction site, you can't dress in feminine clothes.
Yeah, you can't wear high heels.
No, it's impossible. So I had to wear those construction boots. I walk around with a hard hat.
Wow, I cannot imagine that, because the first time I met you was like, you're so well groomed, you're tall and all that stuff. Like I like when you talk about that, I cannot imagine that you were in the construction helmet and the vest and the boots. No, I cannot imagine. I guess a lot of audience looking at you now, they can't even imagine that. You have been there like 15 years, right? You were saying.
Yeah, all in all, in total about 15 years. Because when I was there, I felt that a part of me was missing, the feminine side of me, the feminine side of me. And because unfortunately, being a woman in a male-dominated industry, if you try to look a little bit pretty, you do attract
Yeah,
attention.
I get it.
And good or bad.
And you
Yeah.
have great features, and you're tall also. So I guess you get you give people that kind of like, well, it's okay. Just for example, like most Singapore guys would have went into NS, National Service. So most of the time we don't see ladies. Even the ladies we see in the camp was like more macho, they're more masculine, they're more like tomboyish. But whenever there is like a lady, office lady just walk past, right, the whole platoon, the whole squad will just look at the lady. It's like a rare species. I guess it's the same for the men in the construction area. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the time. And also because I was serving two bosses who are actually the top guy for the construction project, which is a multi-million dollar project. So there has to be some kind of credibility as well, because he said that I need you to be able to handle all the consultants on site. Yeah, so I need to show I can't walk around looking feminine and all soft, because people who will try to actually bully me basically, because
So
I need to hunt them down.
so were you rough back then? Like you have to talk in a very more manly and more rough kind of manner?
No, I didn't have to. I just
Be
had
yourself.
to look a little bit different. I can't look this way, because immediately look at it, it's like you don't have the credibility. Yeah, that was the challenge at that time. So in order to find a little bit of my own feminine self, I on the weekends, I decided to take up a course in makeup artistry. Something that I'm interested in. All girls, I have no one, I have no sisters to teach me how to put on makeup. So I've
Oh.
always been fascinated with it. I didn't know how to do it. So I thought this is something that I can do, just so that I can preserve this little feminine part of me. Yeah.
You
So
have any
that was my
siblings? Any
I
sib-
have two brothers. I'm the
Okay.
girl in the family.
So you are basically dominated by men all around.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, you have two older brothers, right?
Younger
Oh,
brothers.
younger brothers. Okay. So you
Yeah.
have to. So I guess you kind of like know how to handle men in general because you have two younger brothers. So you basically can handle a group of men, I guess. Especially that's why, because it's quite interesting to see that you have been there for 15 years in that environment, very male dominant environment, and you left because of the changes in the company. But why didn't you went to find another similar job instead?
Mm. That's a very good question, because during the end of the project, I was pregnant with my daughter.
Ah.
Yeah, that was the year that I got married, and then I found out that I was pregnant just a few weeks before the wedding. So, and I thought, okay, now that I'm going to be a mom, what are the things can I do to spend time with my child, my unborn child? Because being in construction, while it was fun and easy, I wasn't easy. It was fun in the sense that because I was on my own, right? And I can actually lead a lifestyle that I can choose without being accountable to anybody, right? And because a lot of construction work has to be done at night, so I work hours, long hours, and I also work weekends.
Wow.
Right? So these are the time where people are not in the office. Like for an office move, for example, it has to happen over a weekend, and everything has to be up and running on the following Monday. So not being on my own was an easy thing to make that kind of decision. And of course, like because I was handling the ASEAN regional work, so I get to travel quite a fair bit as well. So having kids at that time is definitely will not allow me to do that. But the thing is that I guess I was at a point where I already done finished building my career, and also at a spot at a time that I was ready to move on to the next step. And I also have to say that my job at that time, that I was so focused on building my career, I also lost my first marriage. due to a lot of other factors as well. So my husband and I had a chat. My current husband and I have a chat that what is the plan for us with regards to having children? Do we want to, to have live-in help? Because it's such a common thing to do in Singapore in particular, right? You need to have dual income.
Yeah.
So who's going to take care of my child? So my mom's still working, and she was also partially babysitting my niece at that time. And then she did tell me, okay, I love you, but I don't think I can handle so many. Yeah, and then she's retired at that time, and she wanted some more time for herself, which I think she really deserved it. So after having all this discussion, and then my husband being German, they don't have this concept, and then they don't have this idea about live-in help. So he said, I would prefer that we adjust our lifestyle, and then you stay home for a few years. Yeah, and then maybe we can do something else. Maybe we can start a business or do charity, whatever it is. We just need to make some adjustments. So I thought, I guess so, because for me growing up, I have my mom with me all the time. So I was able to have these values from my mom that's been imparted onto me and my brothers. So I would not imagine the same. So at that time I was thinking, do I need to leave my job? And at that time, I guess the timing was right, because the project was coming to an end, and I was pregnant, and said, with this kid, I can't go to construction site, I can't travel as and when I want. So what can I do next? And that's when I started to think back about what happened in the past, what am I passionate about? And I always am passionate about looking good, being confident, because growing up as a child, being in Asian culture, I believe, for my upbringing is you're better be seen and not heard. Yeah, you get to speak only when you are spoken to.
Yeah.
And then there's always center around me having to maintain my looks so that I can marry up, or find a husband that can earn enough to provide me for life. Is this always this thinking, you see? So it didn't go very far about from looking good. And also, I had this encouragement from my grandma. I mean, right now it's encouragement, but at that time, to me, it wasn't really encouragement. She was like, you take care of your looks. You study hard, but not too hard, not too smart, so that nobody wants to marry you. Yeah. So eventually, I guess when I met my first husband, it was this mentality that attracted me to him. He has this good degree, and then he's probably on track to be bringing in money and all. And then I would be set for life in a way. And also growing up, I went through this puberty period, and I didn't have a lot of confidence as well. I ended up having breakouts on my skin, and then I didn't really know how to behave. When I was out with my friends, I remember this particular incident. A bunch of boys, when I was maybe about 15 or 16 years old, they walked up to us, stood right in front of my friend, and tried to talk to her, ask her for her number. And then they were really quite insistent. And I turned to the boys and said, look, leave her alone. They looked at me. One of them said, we're not even talking to you. Who do you think you are? You're so ugly.
Oh.
Yeah. So that was actually my environment growing up. I've never really felt that I fit in. I was too skinny and too tan. Under Asian context, if you are skinny and you're not fair, you're not beautiful. Yeah.
So that is very interesting, because I guess that also started you being a strong woman, because you need to be more confident, because the looks itself. So were you a confident lady at first, like even before the puberty start? Were you a confident lady?
No, not much. I've always looked for approval. I seek a lot of approval. I looked to my father. I looked to all the male figures for approval. Even when I was married to my first husband, I looked to him for approval in terms of I let him dictate how I look and what I dress. And the confidence bit wasn't there as well. And because this voice is always in my head, talk only when you are spoken to.
Yeah.
So during a group conversation, a group setting, people would talk, I would just sit there and I just keep my mouth shut. Because even though I have something to say, I never felt that I should say something unless somebody asks me something, or I need to be given this permission. I need to be given this permission to be able to say something. And that sort of evolved only when I started my job, being in this very first construction management job. Because my boss, he was the one running the entire project. So he said that I need you to support me as my assistant, right? I'm telling you as my personal assistant. So you need to be able to be my mouthpiece. Any instruction that I put it out, you have to go and talk to these people. And this confidence was built out slowly because it was my job. If I don't do it, I'll lose my job. So it was circumstantial in a way. And that helped to actually to build me up slowly. And of course, for him, he was a Brit. And then it was once that he sat down and looked me in the eye and said, look, if you want to excel in life, you need to be able to voice out. So I need you to come and tell me. If you felt you are being restricted, if you felt you are being bullied, you have to come to me. If not, I wouldn't know. You have to voice out.
Wow. So you basically, your ex-boss basically is the person that like mentor you and really give you that confidence to really validate you and really affirm you. So before going into this job in the construction area, so would you, if let's say you were to rank your confidence level, like from 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, being the most confident, where will you be before the construction?
Before, I would say I'm more of a 3 or 4 on a scale of 1 to 10.
Okay. So after you went into construction, where were your confidence level at?
After I went into it, because of the encouragement, I wouldn't say that my boss validated me. He just given me this platform. Because he said, anything if you say something wrong, it's okay. I'm the big boss. So I can deal with it. But I need you to be steady in a way. So that helped me to grow over the years. And eventually I was with the experience and that I was given, I moved into an actual role and got promoted to be the regional project manager and running projects on my own.
Wow.
And from 3 to 4, he gave me an opportunity to start at maybe a 5, 10.
Wow.
Sometimes I don't feel confident. I would double check with him, and he was leading me in a way, and then even actually pushing me a fair bit, and then that kind of grow into, I would say, an 8. An 8.
So what was that missing, like 9 and 10? What was that missing tool that you felt like? What was that missing part for you to go into 10?
The missing part was because I wasn't really being I wasn't really being myself in a way. The job at that time was circumstantial. It was good, and eventually I grew into the role. It was an opportunity for me to make a living. But then my own personal journey and purpose, I find that after 10 over years, I'm not fulfilling my purpose. And that's the reason why. So even though I'm on that job, first of all, I'm not trained in projects. I'm not trained in production, and I'm also not trained in engineering. So I knew in the back of my mind, even though I'm sitting on the client side, I have the position. I was in a position to actually document, in fact, to demand and direct the architects, the engineers, and so on to do the job, because I'm sitting on the client side. So the client is usually the most powerful. But I know from a career perspective, I've already hit my ceiling. I can't proceed any further.
I see.
Yeah.
So that was the missing part, because you were saying that you wasn't you, so you are not 100% you to be that confident. Because the confidence is because you have been doing this for many years, and I believe that this will be what most of the audience that's listening, tuning in, that they have been in the corporate for 10 over years. They are very good at their job, but something is missing. They like for me, I used to be in advertising, sales, and marketing. And I realized that after 10 over years in that, like I can be very good, I can bring in the money, I can make it as a living, but that there's something that's missing, that's not fulfilling, that you are not doing something that is truly you, or something that is what we call with the flow. That is really with the flow, and you feel, hey, this is something you can do even when you're old and stuff like that. So that was the missing piece, and I had the same encounter that I got laid off by my previous company, and that my clients that I was servicing, they say that kind of, why not you start your own company so that you can continue to service us. And I accidentally stepped into entrepreneurship. And like whoever has a LinkedIn account, right? LinkedIn will tell you, oh, happy anniversary on your work anniversary. They say, oh, fourth year. Last year they promised me fourth year. I was thinking, what company am I working for that I've been working there for 4 years? When I look at it, I was laughing because I was working in my own company. I just passed my 5th year in my own company. So that is something amazing, because all my previous career, corporate job, right, I've never exceeded 2 years. Yeah. So when I see that, I realize that this is something why it keeps me going, and I understand where you're coming from, because you've been in that, and you already hit that ceiling that you do not know what is next, especially in that area, in the construction site. You already have that power, you already have that call, you already that like the powerful person that can handle everything. Everything is in your control. You found that there's something that is missing, which is not truly yours, because nevertheless we are still employee, still working for someone. So that also brings me to this topic, which is like how to be a confident change maker, and also as a mom. So for you, why are you so passionate in advocating like this female education and lifelong learning? Because this is something that I see that you are doing it more in recent years, and you're also a community leader in this female community group. So maybe you can share with us, like, why are you so passionate about like is there something like a aha moment that kicked you to start this and to give more confidence to the women?
Well, first thing was because I drew from my own personal experience. As I mentioned, my last corporate job, I actually lost my marriage, but then that marriage wasn't a good one. Wasn't a good one. So it wasn't the perfect match. I suffered a lot in that marriage. So long story short, I went through psychological abuse with my ex-husband, and that on the corporate front, my confidence level was up pretty high, and on the home front, I wasn't there. I was crushed. I was more of a 1 or 2. Sometimes I felt like I was nobody, and I was able to excel on the corporate front because of what's happening in at home, and that when that marriage ended, I realized that when I started to share my story, I realized there's a lot of women who were living under the thumbs of their husbands, the family, and mostly men. I mean, no offense to you.
Understand? No worries.
I love that what you're doing right now to support female entrepreneurs. Just that it is just unfortunately there are a lot of women who are living under the shadows and the thumbs of their partner, of their husbands. And after going through that whole traumatic experience and sharing my story, the first person who helped me through to get me out of that, my very first breakthrough came from a female coach. And because of what she did for me, I was able to walk out all of this, with intact. And she inspired me to want to start coaching, to start this coaching business, to be able to support other females that have gone through something like this. And also, I was able to reconcile with my past of not being confident, why I felt that way, and understand what it meant for me, why I had to go through this whole experience, and withdrawing from that experience, how can I actually use it, to support other females. And I also realized that a lot of moms as well, after having kids. In fact, this is also something that happened to me, because after leaving that job, after being retrenched, I moved to Germany with my husband. It just happened that my husband got a job posting back in his home country. So I gave birth in Singapore. I moved And as a new mom, in a new environment, I don't have a job. My job
Yeah.
was focusing on my daughter 100%. So I was trying to live, trying to build my life with my husband, a new life. We just been married for, in fact, it was just like the wedding, and immediately we're having kids, right? So trying to manage that, trying to also to move into a country that I try to get to know, and in a country in a place where I do not speak the language at all. I was still very, I only knew a few phrases.
Yeah.
So there's all this big transition, and my confidence level, being a corporate person, I was like an 8, and I thought, I can actually, when I start out my own business, after I left, I thought, okay, maybe the next thing to do is start my own business so I can manage my time. Then I can be this powerful, successful, this person that I want to be.
Yeah.
But then realize there's no manual of being a mom.
Yeah. I agree.
do.
There's no guidebook, there's no Bible, there's no nothing at all.
No, at all. And I was alone. And then when I called my mom, I asked her, how did you do this with me? She's like, I'm sorry, I don't remember. Then when I asked my mother-in-law, she was like, I don't know how to deal with kids. I have 2 boys. And then she tried to help me as much as she could. But then because of cultural difference, I didn't really know what to do. And being new into the country, I think I also suffered from a little bit of a postnatal blue. And being on my own all the time. But my husband has starting a new job, so he has to really be on top of a lot of things. So he literally worked like 16 hours a day. Yeah, so I don't get to see him at all. I'm cooped up at home. I moved there in the middle of winter. Cooped up at home, temperature change, new mom, and all sorts of
everything is so new. Like
it was. So my confidence level went all the way down to zero. All the way down to zero.
Yeah. While you're saying that, I can imagine how were you feeling. You felt like you were so like you need help, but there wasn't help, and you're in a foreign land. You know no one but your husband, and now you're with a baby. It's like you are lost. And back then, I guess maybe online wasn't that helpful. Also, wasn't that easy. There wasn't any like online coaching and online stuff that you can get. But I believe that at that point of time, you are also in that postnatal blues. You always feel lousy. You always feel down. Like you were saying, that confidence level is zero. Basically, you don't feel like doing anything. You felt like letting everything go. So at that point of time, have you given birth or you were pregnant?
I gave birth.
Okay.
Yeah. So my daughter was 1 month old before we moved.
So that was something that is, I would say, quite a traumatic. Would you call it like a traumatic experience? Because like a new mom, you know nothing and no one can help you, and you travel to a new place, new language, everything new, and the husband is not there. Do you feel that you are very not a very useful person? Like you mentioned, you were so great at corporate, the confidence level was at 8, and now you went there, you know nothing, no help, no one to guide you, no Bible, no guidebook. You were zero.
Yeah.
So what was that the worst thought that you have at that point of time?
The thought was I felt useless, literally. And I felt that, I have gone through education. I have been relatively successful in my previous job. And among my peers, I was paid very well in my job. In fact, some of my friends were envious of my jet-setting lifestyle. And suddenly I've been reduced to a nobody. Literally, I was an invisible person living in a foreign land because I don't really know how to speak the language very much. So it was tough. And there wasn't a support group. And of course, internet at that time, that was 8 years ago. So internet at that time, you don't have all these like resources. Yeah.
You don't even know, and you don't even have the time, because you were like, you feel so lousy, you don't feel like doing anything. You don't even think of going online, right?
Yeah, no, at all. And the thing is that, it's like there was this shock as well, the body.
Yeah.
And after giving birth, there's always this
recovery.
Being woman, recovering, not losing that last little bit of weight. So I'm in a foreign land, I turn to comfort eating, then I put on even more weight. So there's this confidence about my own body, about not being adequate enough. We were newborn, first time mom, I didn't know what to do. There's no one to talk to. So I felt really like invisible, and I felt like a nobody.
Wow, it must be very painful experience. So how do you get out from it? Like, anybody help you at the end, or you came out with something else?
Yeah, well, there was this one day I was just lying in bed. I realized I can't be there anymore. I need to go out and meet somebody. And my husband said, "Yeah, you can't go back at home all the time, because every time he came home, I can hear him at the key with the key outside the door. I will rush and open the door and like, I got someone to talk to.
Wow.
I will offload everything that I have. And I realized that he also told me that this is really not healthy because I cannot cook out at home. It's not good for the baby. So he said, if there's a need for you, perhaps I ask my mom to come once a week. If that is okay, then maybe, we look at what are the clubs that you can join that is English speaking. Because I don't speak the language, so I have no one to speak to. And so we were able to find this American women group where I was able to join, and like I get to speak English. I get to meet some other moms who are like myself, husbands like relocated from America,
Like
from
expats and all that.
Yeah, that they didn't get to speak the language, so they gather once a week, someone's home, and then they get to put the babies on the floor, and then we get to do that.
So really like a mommy support group.
In a way, but the thing is like, there wasn't. It's not like over here. It's not like over here. You can just look at mommy support group. You always have this support within Asia, and then over there is everything's in German. They have the support group for locals. They don't have it for expats. So it was really it was really a stroke of good luck, I would say. We searched a lot, and then finally found this. So after 6 months of cooping up at home, I was able to go out.
So that really helps a lot, and you start to recover, you start to feel a bit more confident because you have someone to talk to and all that stuff. And is that the reason why you want to be a community leader, so that to be there to support when, especially now your kids are much older, you're able to support other women at the same time? Was it one of the reason?
Yes, it is very much the reason, because I realized that without this support group, without this sounding board, this group of people who have been through the same thing or similar situation, I probably would still be back in that cell, in that shell, and I will probably never be able to step out of it. It was actually when I was living in Germany that I asked myself, what do I want to do next? Because when I was asked to go, I wanted to start my own business, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. And because I was expecting a child, so I thought, okay, never mind, I'll just give birth first, and then I'll just plan along the way. And then my husband got this job posting back to Germany, and so it's all right because I can't go out anyway, right? So because of that, and then that was when I went back further into my own personal experience, not having a lot of confidence, and I decided maybe image coaching is something that I really want to do. And then that was when I took time and I did home study, and then eventually flew to London and complete my diploma in image coaching.
So that was when you have your first child, right?
Yes.
After you have your first child, that's where you started the image consulting and all that stuff. So that's where it started to spin off, that image consulting, where I knew you.
Yeah. So that was then where when I started my practice as well, to practice among all the expat moms. Yeah. So they were my first client. So I was doing that in Germany for a few months before I came back to Singapore.
Okay. So how long were you in Germany before you come back to Singapore? Okay, so it's not really that long, and I believe that when you come back to Singapore, it's like, oh, finally I have support, I have people, I can speak the language. It's like back home.
Yeah, but when I came back home, because to also to give birth, because I was expecting my second child when I was
that's why they are like 14 months apart, right?
Yes, they are. Yeah. So I thought, okay, never mind. I had this grand plan. Okay, if I know how to manage my time properly, then I can. My husband was able to work from home a lot of the time. Then I have my mom here. Then we can have maybe like babysitter, or maybe I can finally consider having a live-in maid. So that was this transitional period. I thought, okay, when I can work during the day, and then after that come back to my family and all. So I didn't start out my own personal practice, unlike what I did when I was in Germany. I decided to partner up with someone else, someone a bit more experienced in the market. So, and just so happened that this friend of mine who's a very established image consultant in Singapore. So I asked her, do you need an associate, someone to help you with? Because I've done this and I'm still quite new. I'm only less than a year old. I did that in Germany, and I'm new in Singapore. Do you want to partner up? And I have certain skill sets that I was able to support her, and then that's how we got started. So, and because I was also fearful, I didn't have any experience in terms of setting up business in Singapore at all. But it's so easy to just go on to Accra at that time, right? Just to fill out something and you pay. It doesn't take a lot of money to register a company, but running a company is a completely different thing. You have all these administrative things, legality that you have to think about. That I didn't have the time to do, and she provided that support. So what I needed to do was just that she went out to get the clients. I would just turn up for a workshop, do my thing for 4 hours, and then I'll go home to my children. So it worked well for a while. And then subsequently, of course, things changed. My direction has always been supporting women. And for her, I guess the trigger also came from a client. One of the clients, when I was supporting her, when I was going through this coaching, it's image coaching, just specific image coaching, and I look at her, I say, you look very, very stunning. You obviously carry yourself very well. She has poise, and she has posture, and she can dress already very well. So I was saying, what is it about the image that you're not happy with? That's when she really shared with me something very deep. She told me that she never felt that she is good enough to find the correct man. She was always falling for the wrong man. Men who were after her body, men who were after her money. And she thought maybe it's something the way that she carries herself. So she wanted to have a change of image, hoping to attract a marrying type. And then as we go through the process, I realized that it is not how she looks. It is the way how she sees herself. And that eventually became like a counseling session. And I was able to share some of my experience because of my failed marriage previously, and how I felt not being good enough, not having a lot of confidence, not being adequate, and how I was thinking that I don't deserve better. And that created a shift for her and gave her a bit more confidence, basically, for her to look at herself in a different way. But because I wasn't trained as a life coach, I wasn't able to do any further. The only thing I could do was just to share. And I realized that at that time, that this is actually my purpose. It's not just making women look good and feel good about themselves. A lot of the times when women didn't feel good about ourselves, is the things that we want to change, that we can see an immediate change, immediate result, would be to change our appearance. To at least when we look at ourselves, we feel better about it. But then we can only change the outside, but if we don't change the mindset, if we don't change how we feel about ourselves, then the change will not be a permanent one. And that was what I lived through. So that's where I decided to rebrand myself as a confidence coach and go into life, deeper into life coaching, to help women to change their mindset. And because having been through this whole, not having confidence as a mom, I realized there's a lot of balancing work that I needed to do. The whole grand plan about managing my time, I can tell you, when the kids are young, there isn't an opportunity to do that. But you can still do it to an extent. But I realized that not having a schedule, to manage the time for the kids and myself, it's so very, very easy to get lost into it, and very, very easy to get sucked into it, and that I ended up having no time for myself. Then it's not that I wanted to let myself go. When I turned to comfort eating, it wasn't the fact that I wanted to let myself go. It's just that I felt that I couldn't handle it. It was too overwhelming. How am I supposed to balance? Balance being me, where am I? Who am I? What is my identity? I don't want to just be a mom, and I don't want to be just someone's wife. I'm my own person. I've been through education. I've been through, what is it? What is my purpose in this world? And what is the legacy am I leaving behind for my daughter? She looked at me. I am an example. Right? So what example am I setting? What message am I giving my child? Yeah. So that was the trigger and how I wanted to go a bit deeper.
Yeah, you're so right on that part where our children look at us as role models,
Mm,
especially for daughters, they looked at the mother as a role model. So what kind of role model are you portraying to your children, and what kind of role model are you setting for them? Because that is also the reason why my mission is to empower mothers to be entrepreneurs. Not saying that every one of them need to start a business, because being an entrepreneur, you have a lot of life skills that you have, like perseverance, leadership, patience, and a lot of these values, right, build up a character, and you are more resilient, especially during this period of time where the COVID, the lockdown, MCO, the home-based learning. I realized that a lot of mompreneurs that I know, they are very, I would say, very stable, very calm to handle the things that is coming onto them, like the home-based learning. They know how to structure it. Like you mentioned, like there's like you need a schedule. You need a schedule to manage yourself. You need to take care of yourself. It's not that you being selfish as a mom or stuff like that. You just need to take care of yourself, because I always believe that um, the mother is the anchor of the ship. If the ship sink, then the whole family will be sink, will
mm,
be doomed. So if you save yourself, which is giving yourself self-love, self-confidence, and that is where we are moving into, like how can you be a confident change maker? Because for me, I've seen a lot of successful mompreneurs. They have impacted people. Like for you, you wanted to impact other people because someone impacted you, a lady, a coach that impacted you, and this is the big shift, because when your mindset shift, your whole world will start to shift.
mm,
And when your whole world starts to shift, you are making a big change in the economy. And that's why I believe that mothers, being mothers, you are very compassionate, because of the maternal love that you have for your kids, for other people's kids, for other moms, for other children, and stuff like that. Even for those who are maybe less privileged, you will want to help them even more. So that's where I also realized that, because for with me working with mompreneurs for the past 10 over years, because I was working for Motherhood Magazine. Most of my clients are mothers for the past 10 over years. I've seen that a lot of mothers, when they were in the corporate, they are very confident women, and as they move on, they got married, they lost a bit of confidence, self-esteem, and when they became a mom, a lot of them, even my peers, they have lost like total self-esteem, like from maybe a 8 to a 6 after they got married, and from 6 went to really 0 or 1. So what would you say is the factors that is affecting them, especially after they become a mom? They lost that confidence, because I believe that you met and coach women, in especially mothers. So what would you think will be the factors that's affecting them, that make them lose that confidence?
mm. A lot of the times the factor is it's be feeling overwhelmed.
Mm.
And because moms are actually you mentioned anchor. For me, I always tell that, for us mom, we are the pillar of the household.
Mm.
We are the nurturers, we are the planners at the same time. So we tend to have this mental burden. Drawing from personal experience as well, I have a lot of mental burden. It's like when I'm doing something, if I'm doing my work during the day when the kids
Mm.
are in school, I have these mental burdens. Like I need to make sure that I stop at 4 o'clock so that I can go and pick up my children.
Mm.
So everything is running on a schedule. So if you kind of like get a little bit distracted, then everything will just go out of whack.
Mm.
Yeah, and then everything has to be pre-planned. If you don't have a plan, literally you plan to fail.
Yeah.
So everything has to be pre-planned. I planned all the way down to meals as well, in order to manage my children's expectations and their appetite. I've been accused by my husband that I run the entire household like an
Mm.
army camp, but
I
it
get
is
it.
necessary because I can't, work and then after that cook and then put things on the table and my children like, oh, I don't want to eat this, I don't want fish. And that would be something that would be a trigger because there's so much going on,
Mm.
in a mom's life. And to be very frank, the moms are the ones who are taken on so much in terms of the household. I mean, with home-based learning, my husband is sitting here. at home. Also, he's also working, but because he's working, and doesn't mean that I'm not working. I still have to work, but I couldn't because my kids need the my laptop in order.
Supervision and all
He
that.
needs supervision. He needed my laptop log on to work. I cannot ask my husband to give his laptop to one of my kids, in order for them to do their homework. We can't. So that is actually this in a way imbalance. And then there's also this this thing, okay, with moms, we're unable to let go.
Yeah.
A lot of the common problems are unable to let go because we are worried. We are worried that if I were to let my husband or somebody else handle this, can they do it as well as I do? Right? And also it's like, what if they make a mistake? This is my children. What if they make a mistake? How
It's
is it
also
gonna
our
affect?
children.
There's this mental,
Yeah, I get it.
internal conversation that you have in your head. So that is the reason why the moms are feeling overwhelmed. A lot of the times when the women come to me and say, I can't deal with this because there's just so many things I have to handle. I have to do everything myself. And then my husband's not helping and not being able to communicate. The third thing is actually not being able to not communicate, because a lot of the times we don't know what to say. And then we end up having this resentment, thinking that, we are the one doing everything, nobody knows. And my husband sometimes will ask me, like, so you need my help or not? But if you need my help, you must tell me. If not, I don't know. I cannot read your mind. I can't have it under control.
We are not the worm in your stomach.
Exactly. So there's just three things basically. These three things, having that feeling of overwhelm and not having a plan. Not having a plan, and then the second thing is having this internal conversation, not being able to let go, and the last thing is not able to communicate and voice out.
Yep. I guess that is the three factors. I totally agree with you because that was what my wife went through, and because I would thank me working in Motherhood Magazine, because I need to consume the content of Motherhood Magazine, knowing what is going through, what is the pre and postnatal. I understand what she's totally going through and know how to handle that. And you talk about the overwhelm is where I thank myself for consuming the content so that I can guide my wife, because I know it's very overwhelmed. Because for me, consuming the content, I know how to handle, I know what she's going through. I will talk her, sit her down and stuff like that. And about that letting go, I would say I spent like 5 years to really tell my wife to let her go. Then when the moment she let go, and that moment when she let go was because every year her friends will ask her to travel with them and stuff like that, because they used to travel there, and she couldn't let go for the first 5 years. On the 6 years, because she has a change in the job, and she started to travel for business. So during that business, like you mentioned, the mother, dear, can you do this? Can you do that? You sure you're not? Can I trust you? Can you feed her? And I said, don't worry. So when she come back, she's still my daughter is still in one piece. So what I share with her, and I believe that this could be advice for a lot of daddies that are watching this, is to really give them that ability to trust you, and tell them that you need to trust us, because you guys, like our wives are the women of our love, the love, of our life, the women that we love. So we will not want to do something that will disappoint them. Definitely we will do our best, but as long as you trust us. The key thing I always share with a lot of my female friends is you need to trust your husband. If you can trust him, your life to him by marrying him, then you can trust him with your kids. But you need to give him a chance. Like for you, you're a new mom. For him, he's a new dad. He need to learn. And if he's not a kid-friendly man, then it will take him some time to really get used to it. If you don't let him get used to it, then how can you breathe? That's what I told my wife. So ever since my wife started traveling with her friends, finally she can let go, and she can totally trust our daughter to me. That's why she just kept on going. She thought, this finally is like a recharge for her, and she felt that she got back her life, and her confidence level start to go back. And last but not least, which is the communication. I guess a lot of time I do agree that men are for Mars, women are for Venus. Sometimes we don't agree. And I came across this a speaker that was doing a TED talk. He he shared that men are like boxes. The way the brains are structured, men are boxes. We have like the having a meal time, bathing time, work time. We also have a blank time. Like we sit there and think, do nothing, just black out. But for women, it's more like a spider web. It's all integrated. Like one time you can think about food, next time you think about the school schedule, the timetable and all that. Like men cannot take it. Men have different boxes. So when I share this with some of my guy friends and female friends, they get it. And their communication start to change. Because they see, hey, really, my husband think like that, my husband work like that. Then my wife, wow, can like the north and the south can link together, like the food and the kids timetable can link together. Like how can that happen? Like for most men they cannot imagine that. But once they communicate in that manner, they are able to like you put out the 3 points, which is very important, and these are the factors. So what would you say, because we talk about change maker, so what do you think that makes a change maker?
Okay, all moms are change maker because we're adapting to change all the time. From the moment that we are pregnant, we are already experiencing a change in our body. And then eventually, the change of our mindset. Like what can we do? The night waking, the feeding and all. This is all change of lifestyle, change of habits. So all moms are natural change maker. And right now during this difficult time, the moms the changes from moms actually is more evident. I would say so far I've seen a lot of courageous women trying to balance work, those who still have to do their work, their life, managing the household, managing grocery shopping. Because in the past it's like whatever you want, you just go and get it. Now you have to think about which day to go, how much to buy, do I stock out, bulk purchase and all. And these are the things that and for those households who don't, some of my clients they still have their helper living with them. In the past they go out to work, they leave the household to the helper. So and then now the helper is at home. It's like there's this extra person that they have to take care of. And then this person suddenly, not really following the instruction that you have put out because she's also experiencing certain things. So you end up having like an additional kid at home. And then they are also facing their husbands all the time. For those people, some of them say, it's great, I finally get to see my husband. Doesn't travel anymore. Some of them say he's there all the time.
Like too much.
It's so stifling. So they are still going through all these changes. And then they are also highly adaptable. Women are highly adaptable. And a lot of women don't give themselves credit enough that they are highly adaptable.
I guess it's like not just women, especially mothers. Mothers are very adaptable. I've seen it a lot in my mompreneurs that I work with, that I've been friends with for many years. So I've seen that they have like transformed. Like for you, you have transformed a lot, like since the day that I know you to now. You transform a lot. And also what would you advise? What would your advice be for mothers for them to gain back that confidence? What would maybe your 3 advice for them?
First things is back to that 3 point why they are overwhelmed. First thing is to find time for yourself. Very, very important. Because you need to be able to center. And my suggestion is to keep a journal. You don't have to write a long diary. In the morning, wake up a little bit earlier. You don't just wake up and then start running. This is the modern lifestyle. Everybody wake up and start running. So the first thing is to have some time to yourself. You wake up, give yourself about 10-15 minutes. If you have faith, if you have if you have religion, use that time to pray and center. Right? And then after that, write down the 3 things that you want to accomplish for the whole day. Don't think about my to-do list my to-do list in the household chores. Okay, it will still be there. But what are the 3 things? You can only pick 3 things because we have to prioritize our lives. Pick 3 things what you want to do. Okay, I want to spend 20 minutes playing with my children today. It can be as simple as I want to be able to spend 30 minutes to do my face mask. Simple, very, very simple. Just simple things just to accomplish it and then make it a point to complete that. Just list 3 things. These are the 3 things I want to do myself. And today, how do I want to feel? These 3 things. What you want to accomplish, what you want to do for yourself, and also spending that time these three things. Spend the time in the morning, keeping that journal, and then referring back if you need to. After that, at the end of the day, look at it, and then see where you have accomplished and celebrate. People tend not to celebrate. Yeah, okay lah, this is like
be too hard on themselves. Like I see a lot of mothers being too hard on themselves. Like they cannot do this, cannot do that, and they're just tying themselves up. In fact, nobody is restricting them except themselves. Like for my case, I always tell my wife to really relax herself. But now she's getting the hang of it. Like every day 5:30 she will do her tabata and all that stuff together with my daughter. So it's that her me time. She'll be working hard. Yeah. So that is the first, which is time for yourself.
Time to center. If you have a faith, you need an anchor. It is very, very important to have the anchor. Okay, then write down the things that you want to accomplish, and also spend time with yourself. Even if it's just say, I just want to take a long shower, no audience, or just want to go into the bathroom, lock my door, and then really shower and run, pour water down your body, whatever it is. Just time for yourself. And also, it's very important to communicate. Now that everybody is around, we're not going out. It can be very, very chaotic, and all the more so that women will need to, moms in particular, need to be able to do that in order to regain that confidence and say, okay, this is what I'm going to do. Because once you're yourself, you center your mind, you would know, and then that's where your confidence will start to soar.
Wow, that is really something that the mothers that are tuning in that can take away. And time really flies. Really coming almost to. In fact, we overshot the time, but it's really a good conversation and a lot of golden nuggets that I'm picking up from you, learning from you, and I believe that the audience can take away from. So, Carol, maybe you can share with the audience how can they get connected with you if they want to find out more.
Yes. You can actually connect with me on Facebook. Her name is Carol Gockel, CarolGockel. Connect with me. I would love to connect with you and chat with you a lot more.
So for those who are tuning in, you can look out in the description where I've included Carol's link and her social media links at the same time, so you can get connected with her. You can message her, PM her. And last but not least, Carol, now is your time for you to post the question of the day out to the audience. So are you ready with your question of the day?
Yeah, the question of the day is, what can you do today to change tomorrow?
What can you
do today to change tomorrow?
Okay. What can you do today to change tomorrow? Correct?
Yep.
Okay. So the question of the day posted by Carol is, what can you do today to change tomorrow? So this question of the day go out to the audience who are tuning in and also who are watching the replay, and this question of the day also go out to the next guest that will be coming on next Monday. So Carol, any last advice for the mothers who are thinking of stepping into entrepreneurship or pursue their passion? Any last advice for them?
My advice would be, just give it a shot. Give it a shot, because you never know where you're going to go. I mean, the worst thing that can happen is you didn't make it, but that is actually a learning experience for you to do better the next time.
Wow, that is something that is very inspiring. And thanks, Carol, once again for making time to come onto Mompreneur Space live show with me. And I really enjoy this conversation. I hope that the next time I can invite you again to share more about confidence and how they can get more from it. So last but not least, Kenneth here signing off with Carol. I thank everyone for tuning in, and thanks everyone for making time to really watch this awesome episode. Kenneth here signing off with Carol. Thank you very much, and I see you guys in the next episode. See you. Bye bye. Thanks, Carol.